I just want to say thank you to everyone and good luck. Moving right into my practice presentation, I've entitled it Social Justice as Evolved by My Understanding of the MLA Program. Throughout my presentation, I really wanted to hit um, certain photos that really capture my thought process throughout my time at Baker University. So the first one is a little caption of Donald Glover, and beside it, it says, My enlightenment came at a cost. I think it's good to recognize that it came at a cost, um, and it came at a cost in a good way and a bad way. Um, the bad, obviously, being away from my family, being away from my son, but I purposely did it now because he was younger. Um, the good is I've been able to model a behavior to him, him being in here with me when I was studying or creating these videos, and him yelling in the background, um, him seeing me read all the time. And so he would sit on the couch and sit next to me and model those behaviors. Professionally, um, showing my leadership team that I was willing to be challenged and take on multiple projects while working on this. So it has come at a cost, but it doesn't mean that cost is all bad. My second slide talks about my chapter list. It's very generic because I really wanted to focus on the photo. Through my list, you will see that we're going to talk about the different artifacts thesis, the capstone thesis, and what I've learned throughout the program. The photo mostly focuses on where we're headed as a society, and whether that's utopia, or if you're a Marvel's fan, Asgard, or whether we're headed to hell or a burning city. I don't know. Um, we right now it's such a different feeling to live in the United States, and I think we just have to be careful as a society um, because we could be headed down a road that we cannot recover from. I hope not, but we could, and that's why I chose this photo. Next, going into my thesis for my artifacts thread, the photo that I wanted to use here was that of the thinker, um, and that's what I wanted with my artifacts thread thesis, is to incorporate everything that I've learned throughout the program and just my thought process and how to incorporate um, all my classes. Um, I think the thinker is a good representation of saying that we could never escape our past. So we always have to think about where we came from, but then do we have the power and the strength to change our future? And so um, looking at all those aspects and how they are tied together is remarkable. Next, we have my mind map. And with my mind map, I wanted to really give you an overall view of my thought process. Um, Before, when we did individual mind maps, I don't think I did a really good job. I think it was very vanilla, it was very plain, and I didn't challenge myself. And so that's what I wrote down when I received feedback from classmates and Dr. Cooper. And so I really wanted to challenge myself and to show you how everything tied together. So what I did was I went back and I just looked at a generic map and figured out how they placed towns and cities and roads and interstates and put that all together to create a wonderful masterpiece. And so that's what I did with my mind map, and how I came up with this idea is going back to the beginning, looking at how it was done and bringing it to the future and putting my own little spin on it. Once again, I challenge myself to um, look out of the box and not limit myself. So that's what I did here. Of that came some wonderful ideas. It allowed me to show you what I've learned throughout my time in the MLA program. And so there are four major points that I will quickly hit on. Traits, music, history, and practical use. In traits, learning that race and gender identity, sexual orientation, and gender disparity. I put in bold print gender identity and disparity because that's where we're at right now as a society. Um, we are, that's why I said we are in turbulent times. We have different races and communities that are trying to figure out who they are, and all they're asking for is love and support. And we have some that are choosing not to do that, and we have some that are with open arms and are part of our society that it's closed off to these communities, are very hateful and very hurtful, and there's a lot of negativity, and that just sends a bad message to our society, and it's something that we need to discuss and look at. Music, um, in my papers, I really talked about ownership and once again identity, and how artists have lost their identity due to the fact that just because you wrote a song and performed a song doesn't mean that the song was necessarily yours. And so it takes away their voice, and it takes away their soul. And that's one thing that I didn't enjoy learning, but it was something that I needed to learn. And I got that from my introduction to American music class. History of the American presidencies taught me a lot about leadership and where we've come from, and how we were born, our nation was born from another. We came here to escape, and but did we do that? Did we create something different than our predecessors? And have we escaped that? And so that class really forced me to look at there are different presidents, how they ruled, how they governed, how they presided over the American people. And the one thing that I want to say is that throughout our history, we have given our presidents the opportunity to grow. We have given them the resources and the time to establish who they were, to find their identity. And so, with that, I think we have to be mindful that we need to do that in all areas of our lives, not just with our leaders, but with everyone. And then lastly, my human resources. I learned a lot from my concentration, how to become a better leader, how to look at my staff and provide opportunities for them. But the one area that I did learn is, are we using all of our avenues in human resources, from talent development to acquisitions to trainings, and using technology as a platform to teach our individuals? And so really trying to figure out within my own organization, if our employees, our staff, are provided with every opportunity. Um, and then next, um, personally and professionally, you know, it's kind of a burden of recognition how all is still flawed, and can I still grow as an individual? And the short answer is yes. So looking at my personal life um, as a male, and viewing of gender identity and gender disparity, I have an opportunity to provide um, a level of support and guidance with the students that I work with and with my staff members. As an African American man, I have the opportunity to contribute to these young men who are under my care, and provide them with a history and with a context, and showing them that there are other avenues, and that when barriers hit, not to run for them, but to face them head on. As a father and a husband, I have the opportunity to help guide my son and teach him all aspects of life, not just the things that I think are important, but he needs to know the historical content of how we got here. And then as a husband, um, paying my wife the respect that she is due, and making sure that I am there for her as much as she is there for me. Professionally, it really just comes down to staff. It comes down to providing them with the opportunities to grow. For my students, it's teaching them how to be self-advocate in their day-to-day journeys, and how, with the right support, that staff and students can grow. Next, we get into my capstone thesis, and the photo at the bottom. It says it all. We're talking about equality, we're talking about gender inequality, discrimination, comparison. And so it's really looking at those three theories, and um, showing you how each of those theories has made a monumental difference in our world today. That leads into my mind map, and I put it as the quilt, how it all fits and is connected. Um, this was wonderful for me. It gave me an opportunity to really sit back and figure out just how all the pieces worked in my head. Um, it was jumbled. It was bad. It was bad. And so I had to step back and take a look at how I could incorporate all my classes, and figure out my voice. And so that's what you see here on this paper is my opportunity to show you how everything fit nicely together. With that, it gave me renewed determination. Um, there's a movie called Network from it's either the 60s or 70s, and there's a character, and he says, "I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore." And that's kind of where I'm at. Is I've seen